All right, YouTube limits me to 15 minutes, so let's get started. This right here, you see that? Affidavit of Mike Zullo. My printer prints really light, otherwise it'd be darker. But this is a 57 page, 207 point, you see that right there? 207 point, 57 page affidavit that I printed off from the net. It's a very good resource for birthers. Of course, this is a book called Where is the Birth Certificate, released May 2nd of 2011 by Jerome Corsi. Where's the birth certificate? And this is a scum dirtbag cockroach feces book called Is Barack Obama's Birth Certificate a Fraud, by a dirtbag named John Woodman. Okay? All right, but it's good to know the other side's argument, so I went ahead and got the resource. All right, so those are the three resources. Let me set my egg timer. YouTube, they just won't let me have more than 15 minutes. I've been in a discussion with them, but they just keep sending me back these robotic responses, and they won't answer any questions, and I'm just very dismayed at them. But let's get started. So let me first say that some people say I can't speak about this issue without screaming and losing my temper, and you know why? Because it's very difficult, because I've been paying attention to this thing for 4 to 5 years now, and I've seen the history, and it bothers me greatly to see people wuss out and to turn this country over to a usurper that is going to run it into the ground. And I think that he has murdered people because of this issue. I think specifically that SEAL Team 6 was killed, and that this issue is what prompted it. I'm going to give you reasons why I think that. Let me also say, in my last video, you guys know that Mark Wayne Mullen badmouthed street preachers, okay? He gave them as an example of people that don't make any difference in the world, and he gave them as an example of what we should not be like. Okay, first of all, I got a huge amount of respect for street preachers, and if this country just doesn't get totally annihilated like Sodom and Gomorrah, it's because we still have a few street preachers left. Matter of fact, the reason that New York and California probably just don't drop off in the ocean is because there's probably a few street preachers hanging around, and God's keeping the whole state afloat just because of those street preachers. Let me also say that when I recognize that someone has more courage than me, like a good street preacher, I don't like badmouth him, right? If someone has more courage than me, I respect him. I say, wow, that's a good example of how to act. I don't badmouth him and try to degrade him like Mark Wayne Mullen did, which was despicable. Mark Wayne Mullen is a coward, and he is a sellout, and he's not a true, honorable man with integrity that wants to pursue the truth. So that's my point on that. I want to also, you guys need to remember what we're talking about here, because when this owl, not so sharp, Tawana Brawley Sharpton gets on TV and starts trying to peer pressure, like telling everybody that Boner needs to get his party in line and try to peer pressure everybody back into not talking about this issue. They don't want to talk about the facts. See, we have to be aligned with the facts, and that's why I bring up that acronym that I made a video on a long time ago called CSS Moonfish. I still use it today. When people start wanting to talk about that long form birth certificate, I just go into my CSS Moonfish speech, and let me just give it real quick, just as a reminder, right? But C in CSS Moonfish is the clipping mask. The clipping mask in the PDF file shows that there is image manipulation beyond a shadow of a doubt. The S is the first S is smiley face. There's a smiley face in Alvin T. Onaka. The guy who forged it is putting a little smiley face there to kind of stick it in our face. The second S is a misspelling in the stamp, TXE versus THE. M is multiple layers. The whole dang file's got multiple layers. Why, when you take a picture of a birth certificate, why don't you just scan it into a JPEG or to a GIF, right? If you want to optimize, the thing is, they'll claim that they did optimization or optical character recognition in order to make it condensed and compressed, but that's not the case. That was proven by Mike Zullo's team. But it should absolutely, the multiple layers that exist, why does he even need to do that, right? Let's go on, but the stamp is a layer all by itself. It was imported from outside the document. That proves that it was an image manipulated document. So you got the multiple layers situation. And also, if optimization had ran, they proved that it would produce way more than just nine layers. So the O, the first O in moon, CSS moonfish, is optical character recognition was not run. That was proven. Optimization was not run. Okay, and also the N is no chromatic aberration. If you scan an image of a colored birth certificate, you're going to get chromatic aberration. There is none. It's not. There's no consistent, globally consistent chromatic aberration throughout the document. The F in fish is the football argument. Now, I said this before, but if you take a picture of my pretty face sitting here, is there anything that you can do to that picture or take it to a lab to find out I got a football behind me? No, the answer is no, right? You cannot do that. You can't find out what's behind something. But yet, in the Obama PDF file that you download from whitehouse.gov, there's pixels behind pixels. What's up with that? That proves that it was digitally manipulated, right? There's no such thing as pixels behind pixels if you just scan the birth certificate. You got image noise. That image noise is the little gradients around the edges of the letters. It's not globally consistent. If you just scanned an image, the image noise throughout the whole document globally should be consistent, but it's not, right? Which is another evidence of image manipulation. And then you got the S, that stands for the stamp, the S in fish. The stamp in the birth certificate can just be moved around independently. Just take the stamp and just move it around. It's like, what the hell? You can't move the stamp independently if it's just a scanned image of a birth certificate. And the H, there's a halo effect that's there that should not be there, right? It's another evidence that they just digitally manipulated the document. So CSS Moonfish is, they will never talk about the facts, right? They just want to like put peer pressure on you that this has already been dealt with. Well, some of us ain't going to shut up even if you threaten to kill us. We already know that you've already killed some people. But let me give you some more things to remember regarding the history of this and highlights that come to my mind as I'm thinking about the history of this whole birth certificate thing. First of all, you remember that his grandmother, I think her name was Marilyn Dunham, I think it was. She died 2 or 3 days before the election. You guys don't think that's a little weird? That right before the election, I'm talking about the day of the election, she dies 2 or 3 days, and you say, Rudy, don't pick on his grandmother. He lost his grandmother. No, come on now. 2 or 3 days before the election, she croaks dead. Come on. You know, she was a living witness and could have testified and could have given a personal account of what's going on. You know, but she dies 2 or 3 days before the election. I'm saying that I believe there's something very suspicious there. You take it or leave it. I don't have evidence. I'm just saying it's very suspicious given the track record that we know now. Okay, let's go to his other grandmother, which was Sarah Obama. Sarah Obama is on record that if you type in on YouTube, Sarah Obama born in Kenya, she actually said he was born in Kenya, right? And then she was supposed to come over and spend some time at Christmas in the United States with her grandson, but I think it was some Arab king somewhere swept her away to some Muslim country and put her up in a 5-star hotel, right? They couldn't have her come over to America and talk to anybody. So Sarah Obama has been kept from the American public because she knows what's going on too, but you never hear from her. You don't hear anybody interviewing her. You guys remember Neil Abercrombie and Chiyomi Fukino? Remember those two? Chiyomi Fukino said that she just went and looked at it and she came out with a statement, and she made the statement, I don't have it memorized, but she basically said the state of Hawaii certifies that we've seen the long form and it's there and everything's cool. Everything's just fine. You guys need to quit it. And Neil Abercrombie, after Chiyomi Fukino came out and made that statement, said, this is becoming ridiculous. When I become governor, I'm just gonna put it out and we'll put an end to all this because it's gonna be a political issue for Obama. Right? When Neil Abercrombie became governor, he totally became silent on the issue. He didn't want to talk about it anymore. You know why? Because Chiyomi Fukino lied, and Neil Abercrombie went and looked for it, and he didn't find it. That's exactly what happened, right? Timothy Adams, you guys remember Timothy Adams? He was an Hawaiian elections clerk, right? He said that it was an open secret in Hawaii that there was no long-form birth certificate for Obama. He just said it was an open secret, and he was an Hawaii elections clerk. Okay, You guys remember Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin? I hope you do. He's a hero of this country. He was court-martialed and sentenced to 6 months in prison, Fort Leavenworth prison, because he didn't believe Obama was eligible to be a commander-in-chief of the military. Okay, and he went up his chain of command for over 2 years to try to resolve this issue. All Obama had to do is send $10 to Hawaii and get it released, and it could have prevented Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin from going to prison. What kind of man like Obama lets another man, a 15-year Army veteran, active military, go to prison over this issue, when all he had to do, if he had a legitimate birth certificate, just send in the $10 and not make Terry Lakin go to prison. He's supposed to be president of the whole United States, right? Even Republicans, even people that are conservative and constitutionalists, why would he let him go to prison? Because he didn't have it at the time. You know, it put him under a lot of pressure, and Terry Lakin called his bluff. And Terry Lakin put a lot of pressure on him at the time. Okay, let's go on to. Remember when Osama bin Laden was killed, supposedly, on May the 2nd of 2011 by SEAL Team 6? Remember that? Do you know Jerome Corsi's book, Where is the Birth Certificate, was scheduled to come out May the 18th of 2011. SEAL Team 6 supposedly killed Osama on May the 2nd. Drudge Report, Matt Drudge, at the time had balls and was reporting on the birth certificate. Now, Matt Drudge has since lost his balls. You know, just look around in your backyard, in your front yard, and you can look down the street. Maybe you can find Matt Drudge's balls. But he used to report on the birth certificate, but he doesn't anymore. But at the time, in May of 2011, he was. Now, when they killed Osama and came out with the big press reports, and, you know, SEAL Team 6 did all this wonderful thing, and they buried his body like 4 hours later with a DNA test. I thought normally DNA testing takes like 24, 36 hours. But no, Obama was DNA tested in the first 4 hours, and his body was buried at sea with no witnesses, right? Okay, that took all the headlines away from Jerome Corsi's book. They needed, okay, now later SEAL Team 6 is reportedly dead, right? And you don't think that's a coincidence? You don't think there's something going on there? There has been people murdered over this issue. The reason you have people like Al Not So Sharp Sharpton and Tawana Brawley Sharpton coming out talking about it is he's trying to deflect attention, right? They got to do everything they can, and they will kill people over this issue. But see, there are some of us that, you know, we're children of God. You ain't gonna threaten us. You ain't gonna say anything. I mean, you're not gonna shut us up. And so you go ahead and try. And if God lets you, God will let you. He'll take us home. But if He don't let you, you better watch out, because your time is coming. Your time is coming. You remember the Eleanor Nordyke? Eleanor Nordyke had twins on August the 5th of 1961. Obama was born on August the 4th of 1961. Yet Eleanor Nordyke's numbers were lower than his registration number on the birth certificate. Eleanor Nordyke's twins' registration numbers were lower than Obama. But they were born a day later. Okay, you don't think that's weird? You don't think that's a little strange? Remember when Bill O'Reilly was questioned about the issue because somebody sent him in a letter, and he got on TV and said, I'm too busy. I've already done my due diligence on this, and I found some advertisements in the newspaper. It's my understanding now, I don't know this 100% for sure, so you guys can double check me, but I believe there's somebody offering a reward, maybe $6,000, $10,000 for a full newspaper from August the 4th of 1961. And I don't think anybody's ever given them the newspaper. And also, when have you and I ever been able to get a job by showing the advertisements in the newspaper? Not only that, but Mike Zullo has reported in his 57-page affidavit that the Hawaii state law allows registration of out-of-country births, and that would have triggered the newspaper advertisements. Those newspaper advertisements don't mean a thing, okay? Remember Jean-Claude Tremblay? That was Fox News' answer to Mayor is the Best, right? Fox News came out and interviewed Jean-Claude Tremblay and said there's no doubt the birth certificate is legitimate. They put it on the front page of foxnews.com. Later, Jean-Claude Tremblay was interviewed by WorldNet Daily, and he said, hey, I didn't really, they took my thing out of context. I'm mad. They misquoted me.